seems you have forgotten love. I do believe that something went wrong somewhere. What about my feelings? Do they mean anything at all? You got me so in love, too blind to see that you got my love, like you wanna put me down. And that you got my love, got me standing on shaky ground. What about it, baby? What about
Good evening, good evening, good evening, beautiful people. That song that you're listening to, What About My Love? That's by Chicago's own Dante Hall. And the song is kind of the theme of the show today, What About My Love? Today we are going to be talking about mistresses and also men that are mistresses. And I'm going to bring my guest on so he can talk more about that. Matter of fact, normally I read this long bio for him, but this time I'm not because before the show he was telling me some stuff that we got to share. But first of all, I have to welcome you. I hope you had a great week and welcome to Intellectual Radio's Voices of Change. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune in. Share. Call someone up, tell someone, listen to Voices of Change. This is Relationship Sunday, and my special guest today is Khalid Scott. Khalid will take your questions from the comments today. And today we are going to discuss mistresses and the sidemen. Every week before the show, I start out with a scripture. Today's no different. There's a lot of scriptures on this topic. For today, it's going to be Matthew 15, verse 19. And it says, "For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, and slander." It's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm not going to hesitate. I'm not going to delay because I want to get right to this conversation. Make sure you put your comments in the comment box and I'll try to read them all, as many as I can. And I want you to help me welcome. This time I'm going to let him tell you something about himself rather than have me read it because I'm sure he can tell it so much more eloquently. Help me welcome Dr. Khalid Scott. Hello, Khalid.
As always, Lady J, thank you for having me on your forum. We always have a great time, and it always is impactful. At least that's the feedback I always get. So as always, thank you for having me come in your home.
Thank you for being here again. And I'm hoping to make this a normal thing, like the last Sunday of every month, Relationship Sunday.
I'm there with you.
Wonderful. Yay. Wonderful. So, we're going to jump right into this topic. Let me ask you something because I know a lot of people probably want to know, or they may have questions about it. It seems like the term mistress is kind of derogatory. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they call men that are mistresses? Men that are involved with married women.
Men.
Maybe I didn't phrase my question right.
And let me explain.
Okay.
If you talk about a promiscuous woman, right, you can name, there are hundreds of terms for a promiscuous woman, right?
Yeah.
But if you talk about a promiscuous man, he's a man. He's a man. He's doing what men do. You might hear he's a man, WHORE, or he's a player.
Or he's a garden tool, or whatever little.
Right.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, Janice, it's almost like a compliment, right?
It is.
It's a compliment being called a player, a ladies' man.
Pat him on the back, like, yeah, bro.
Absolutely. But who do you think us men are sleeping with? You know what I'm saying? So if the woman is this word, why aren't we equivalent to that word, right?
Because
but that's how we set it up.
Double standard.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And so that's why I wanted to have this conversation today to talk about mistresses and sad misters. Now that's a term,
Side misters.
a sad mister,
Okay.
right?
I like
And folks may think, why would a man be the other guy? Are you kidding? Are you
Why
kidding?
would he? Why stop right there and tell me why he would?
It's benefits. I can have my cake and eat it too, right? See, remember, with men, we tend to go on the side of rational logic, right? While women tend to go on what? The emotional side, right? So we got a scenario is, say if I'm a single guy, or I can be a married guy, right?
Okay.
And I want to deal with you, and you want to deal with me, and you're married. See, only thing I got to do is pleasure you. Only thing we got to do is have a good time, because the other stuff, that's for your husband to do. That's what your husband do. He has to pay the bills. He has to be emotionally ready. I'm only here to please your body, your spirit, and your mind.
Very much like the female mistress. Here to please your
Absolutely.
body, you're the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The minute a mistress starts mimicking a wife, the married man will dump you.
And how does she mimic the wife when you say mimic the wife?
Having expectations.
Oh, okay. Nagging.
Correct. 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 See, a good husband, and that's a contradiction. A married man will set the expectations up front, right? And he typically won't really negotiate with the mistress, right?
Right.
He's going to let her know, this is my situation. You down with it? Yes, then let's go for it. But understand, you have a role. You have a role. Don't go beyond that role. Stay in your lane, because the minute you go out of your lane, we're going to have problems.
I don't want you to.
We're going to have problems. And see, what happens with us men, we forget, if I'm laying down with you and I'm mimicking everything a boyfriend would do, a husband would do, your feelings are going to start really kicking in, right? Because women tend to be emotional, right? And so what happens is, the mistress goes on Facebook and see you with posting pictures with your wife and kids on Christmas with y'all pajamas on, and she like, wait a minute, that dude was over my house last night. But now he on Facebook saying that I'm the perfect family man. I'm not going to let you get away with it. So what she does is this. She picks up this cell phone, because she already got your wife's information. The mistress gets your wife's information after the second date.
And how does she do? He gives it to her? Because that's not fair. Now, is that fair?
We basically hand our phone over to the mistress. Remember the example I gave you, that a man's passcode is typically kid's birthday? If I'm a mistress and I'm sitting down with Khalid, hey, my daughter's birthday is coming up. It's August 21st. 0821. 0821. Bingo! Bingo! Got it.
You're in.
And then we do this. When we are putting down our telephone numbers, we have wifey, daughter, granny, mama, right? And so what happens is, the mistress has our wife's information right then and right there. And she's holding it. She's holding it like a spade at a game, right?
And she's being the FBI too, all at the same time.
Absolutely. 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 Because women are the best, and especially Black women. You all are Sherlock Holmes. Okay?
I believe that.
My God. A friend of mine shared a story with me, Janice. She was in a bed with her husband. He was talking in his sleep. He said a woman's name. She got out the bed, went to the computer room or the office. She went on his Facebook page. And then she went to his friend list and saw that he had about 3 women with this name. And she used process of elimination. Then they both are on the same cell phone plan, right? So she was able to click on the T-Mobile and see the list of telephone calls in and out, right? So she saw a series of numbers that her husband was calling over and over and over. She dialed the number. Hey, let me make up a name. Are you Tamika? Yes. Do you know my husband? Make up a name. Antoine? Yes. How do you know him? He my man. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Tamika, but I'm his wife. And what you know what Tamika said?
That's not my problem.
And
because she knows about her.
Because she knows. She knows.
So it's no surprise.
It's no surprise. Us men, we tend to be sloppy. We tend to be sloppy. Because in our head, our wives have already taught us what we can get away with and what we can't get away with. And for a lot of wives, guys, cheating ain't is not a what's that word? Help me out, Janice. It's not a deal breaker. Mm-hmm. It's not a deal breaker.
You say for most marriages or for most guys or for most relationships?
We see that for most women, if my husband steps out, that is not a deal breaker for me to go and divorce him. Because guess what? A lot of women are understanding the Bible verse of Khalid Scott. All men cheat. And I saw that. I saw it. And so in her mind, if I go with somebody else, he's going to do the same thing. I'm not giving up my house. I'm not giving up his pension. Right? So I'm going to stay, but I'm going to make life miserable for him for a couple of weeks. And what happens is the husband's like, baby, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Here go your roses. Next time, let me switch up my daughter's, now I'm going to use my nephew's social security number.
Or let me get a second cell phone because I'm going to need it for work.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Have them call on that. Yes.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So what happens is that we build this world of distrust and deception, right? And how are we going to fortify marriage and family and community when we don't even trust a person who's supposed to love me no matter what? So that's why, again, I wanted to do this segment about the psychology of what makes someone become a mistress.
Let me ask you something.
Of what makes a man be okay with being the side dude.
I got to ask you something because we always get into this. I know we've talked about 100 times. All men cheat, right?
Absolutely.
You said this woman, she was like, well, you know what? If I go to the next one, he's going to cheat anyway. I don't want to give up my pension. I don't want to give up my house. I might as well make life hard for him, get a new car or something and keep moving, right?
Yes.
So if your daughter, the neurosurgeon, beautiful neurosurgeon, married a man who she loved and he loved her, I guess, and he cheated, and she came home and said, Daddy, I can't believe he did this. What would you tell her?
Go upstairs, get some rest. Daddy gonna cook you a good meal. And then tomorrow, Daddy gonna send you and him, because I'm gonna kick his butt, he gonna send you to a marriage therapist. Gonna send you to a marriage therapist.
Do you think marriage therapy help cheaters?
Yeah, help them not cheat anymore?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Then
but
what?
It makes people feel better to at least understand, why did you do it to me? Wasn't I beautiful enough? Wasn't I smart enough?
Let's talk about that beautiful enough, because when we came on, you were telling me some stories and I was just shaking my head. When you were saying that, you counsel men and you counsel people. And these people who you counsel weren't women who were upset because their man cheated. Tell us about the people who some of your clients.
Well, the majority, I was about to, a slip of the tongue, all of my couples who are meeting with me, they are meeting with me because of infidelity, right? And so, for instance, the first couple I ever met with, the husband and wife have been married 20 years. They had been together since their mid 20s. Now they were in their mid 40s. And the husband went on Facebook. He joined a alumni page of his college, reconnected with his ex-girlfriend from college. They got together and they had a baby.
Ah!
They had a baby. Now, while the couple was waiting for the baby to be born in order to get the DNA, I was helping them. I was going over the scenarios and how you're going to think you're going to handle it. Well, come to find out, because when I asked the husband on the first session, is this the first and only time you cheated? He said yes. Did I know he was telling a white lie? Yes, I did. But I needed him to own it, right? Come to find out, her family knew that he had cheated on her before. She didn't know, right? Okay. So when she found out, not only are you about to you might be having a baby outside our marriage, right? But you slept with other women. And here it is. I'm a professional woman. I'm beautiful. I've been with you since we grew up together. We've been together since our 20s. Why wasn't I good enough? And that's what I had to make the therapy focus in on. The why. The why.
What did she end up doing? Staying or leaving? I'm just curious.
She ended up leaving, and she found that it came to find out that the baby was his. And after she found out, she was like, Mr. Scott, Dr. Scott, I'm done. She filed for divorce, and I heard from her in October, November, the divorce is final, and she has moved on. And I told her, and I've mentioned this before, I said, how brave were you to do that? And she was like, Mr. Scott, it didn't feel like being brave because I was scared every moment. I said, the reason why I'm saying that you were brave, because a whole lot of women wouldn't have done what you did. They would have stayed.
And I got a question right there, because it's kind of brought up here. Someone said, well, if I'm in cheat, and if the one who's taking care of me cheat, why should I leave? And there was another brother who said, Daryl Price said, I hear you. So why go? So you're saying that this lady who left her husband, well, he did more than cheat. He had a baby. But that was the right thing for her to do. So is that the right thing to do, or is it on an individual basis? Or is it based on self-esteem? Is it based on a multitude of things?
Right. There you go. You just answered the question right there, sis. It's based on what you have the capacity to deal with. She understood, I can't be in the house when he brings that baby over that first weekend. And
it's not the baby's fault. Right. It's not the baby's fault.
Absolutely not.
Right.
But I'm going to always understand, how did that baby come to existence? And then I got to explain to my family that here it is, me and him don't even have a child together. He went outside and found somebody who was familiar to him during the season of our 20th anniversary, got her pregnant months before our 20th anniversary, and now they have a child together. And her thing was, no, my self-esteem is not going to allow me to stay.
It wouldn't take it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what someone said. She took care of herself.
Absolutely. And again, when I say brave, because again, everybody wouldn't make that. And it's no judgment. If you want to stay, this is your marriage and this is your life. But you can't have the outside voices in. Because what I always do with all of my clients, it's about empowerment. You make the choice, because you got to live with it, you got to regret it, you got to own it, and you got to deal with it. So now I want to transition, Janice, if you don't mind, the psychology of, right? And I want people to take out a pen and paper because I'm about to drop some science on you, okay? All right. So the question, I'm sure that people are going to say, and let me, because I see your brother making a certain comment, guys, I don't expect nobody to agree with me 100%, and I'm okay. But all that in the background and my 29 years of experience, this is where my wisdom comes from. You may have a different experience, but I can only give my testimony of what I observe. And that's all. So let me throw that disclaimer out. So the psychology of a mistress and a mister. Okay. Anything that we do in life, a seed was planted, right? And sometimes we have to figure out who planted the seed in the first place, right? So now let me use a personal account.
Okay.
And I've shared this story over and over, right? My mother, auntie, and two uncles grew up with my grandfather and grandmother. Through the course of my grandparents' relationship, my grandfather had 5 kids outside the marriage. 3 of the women were my grandmother's friends. Okay. So how did it affect the children of these of my grandparents, my mom, my aunt, and my 2 uncles? They saw relationships not like a Disney movie. I promise you. Because the people who were supposed to teach them what love and commitment and honesty and high moral value failed them. So my mom, when she became 17, 18 years old, she said, no, I'm not getting married. Married is not the goal for me. And my mother was only 17 years old. So I'm a product of an affair that my mom had with a 30-something-year-old married man. Okay? So fast forward a couple of years later, my mother got into a relationship with a married man, and he was with us for 16 years. Right? Now, when I hear the account of how they came together, one of the things that stood out with my mom was this. She set the parameters early on in their relationship. So she was a 20-year-old in a relationship with a married 45-year-old man who had 3 kids. Now, my mother had a 2-year-old child, right? So she told Mr. Married Man, you will pay the rent, sir. You will take care of my son, sir. You will not disrespect me, and I, on turn, will be your second wife. I'm not the first, and I'm clear about that. I'm the second, and you will conduct your business in this house like I'm your wife. Ooh. Mr. Married Man paid the bills for 16 years. And I had a father figure, like it or not. That man took us to his family reunion down in Arkansas.
As who?
My mother wasn't the hidden mistress.
So they all knew about it.
Yes. And it was understood. Now, this was back in the 70s where we had this thing called sugar daddies, where it was understood. I got me a mistress. And it was almost a 50-50. And all of Mr. Married Man, all of his buddies were Masons and police officers and firemen. And Mr. Married Man owned 2 clubs on the south side of Chicago. So he had this allegiance or this association with all these Black men who had mistresses. So it was the end thing. Right? What I gathered from my mom as I became an adult was she understood her assignment. Her assignment was to make sure her son had a male figure and that she was going to be taken care of. Now, Mr. Lee forgot one day, right? Let me tell you what he forgot. He said, Kathy, my mother's name was Kathleen, Kathy, I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you.
16 years, I guess so.
Yes, ma'am. Now, he broke the rules. You ain't supposed to fall in love with the mistress. But he said, I'm in love with you, Kathy. I want to marry you. I'll divorce my wife and marry you. Now go back to my mom's upbringing, right? She saw a daddy abuse a wife,
She
her
didn't want
mother.
her. She didn't want
She
her.
didn't. She was like, absolutely not. You think I would sit up and marry you so you could do me what you're doing to your wife with me?
Yep.
So my mother was a different type of mistress. And folks can have their comments like, your mom was still wrong. And right today, my mother would tell you, I know I was wrong, but I had something to do and I got it done. And it was understood. The wife knew about my mother. So it was understood. It was understood. So this was almost like how the stories in the Bible. It's understood, right? But again, my mom's psyche went to, I can never go through what my mother went through. This is okay for me right now. So now let's use a popular TV show that I often reference. Olivia Pope, right? Scandal.
Yeah.
Right? And now I know people like, well, Khalid, look, come on, man. That's a TV show. Are you kidding me? You don't think that happened in real life? The reason why we engaged in that TV show because of its realism, right? Olivia Pope had options, didn't she? She had this handsome black senator who wanted to wife her, didn't he?
Yep.
Right? But go back to Olivia Pope's mom and dad. They were beasts.
Yeah.
They were beasts.
They were
beasts. So guess what she learned? What do I want to be married to somebody for? Because I didn't grow up seeing a Walt Disney movie with Prince Charming and Black Snow White. I saw two, what's the word? They were warriors.
Yeah, they were adversaries. They were, I don't know what they were. Yeah.
So in her mind, it benefits me to get my needs met with the president of the United States. If I'm going to be a side chick, if I'm going to be the mistress, I'm going to be the one to the number one man. But what did President do wrong, right? He
fell in
love. He broke the rules. You don't fall in love with the mistress. You don't fall in love with the mister. You don't fall in love.
You just play with him.
How can you not? How can you not? When somebody is pleasing your body, your spirit, and your soul, how can you not fall in love with them?
That's true.
How can you not fall in love with them or fall in love with the idea of them? Right?
That's true.
So there's going to always be mistresses and side misters. I promise you that. And anybody who wants to debate with me, get on the line right now. Let's go for it.
I'll send a link.
Now, let me cross over a little bit to the side mister. What benefits would a man, what benefits would I have as a single man messing with a married woman? I got divorced 10 years ago, and my divorce almost took me out of here because I loved being a husband. I loved my wife. We were often, people would see us be like, man, y'all that couple, this perfect family living in a suburban life. I love
that big, beautiful house. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then I got divorced and I looked at relationships and marriage a whole lot different because my Disney movie got stepped on.
Yep.
My happily ever after got stepped on. And then also I was always the good guy. I'm not a player like a lot of my male friends. I tell people right now, I've only been with 13 women in my entire life, and I'm 52 years old. People listening, they're like, 12? You mean by the time you reach 17, right, you was with just 12? I said 12.
But Khalid, so you're a good guy, but you're still one of those men like the ones that you advocate about that will cheat.
Right. So let me explain.
Okay.
So I see all my buddies, the slick talking dude, you know what I'm saying, who walk down the street and all the women want to give him rhythm. And I'm like, wow, he benefiting from this. He getting cooked meals. He getting sex. He's getting attention. And he got a wife at home. But me, I'm sitting up here, I'm watching Bel Air, eating popcorn. Oh, okay. Okay. And then for me, I don't want to be a husband again. Nope. My marriage devastated me enough to know I don't need to have a Mrs. Scott anymore. At least not right now. Maybe when I'm 80 and I need to put the Social Security checks together. But not now. Not now. Then also the dating scene is beneficial because a lot of the women who were married and they're divorced, right? Now they're single again. Mm-hmm. And we all is like, you know what? It's about just having fun.
Right.
Enjoying ourselves. So say if I met a young lady and she was like, you know what, Khalid, I want to be serious with you. I'm going to let her down because I don't want a relationship. But think about a beautiful married woman coming at me. Khalid, you make me laugh. You are a big old black bear. I just want to do some Netflix and eat some Giordano's with you. And I'm like, okay. Because after that, you got to go home to the mister. So I end up getting my needs met, and he's taking care of the business. That I don't have to pay her bills. I have to worry about her credit cards. I don't have to worry about her visitor or worry about when you stop having a visitor as a woman. What is that called? When you go through the change.
And you stop having a visitor as a woman.
The visitor. When you go through the changes as a woman, what is it called?
Menopause.
There you go.
Okay.
I don't worry about that. Don't come and see me if you haven't had hot flashes. Come and see me when you are good.
Did you say that?
Absolutely. Because remember, what has the world taught me as a single nice guy? Be wicked.
Yeah.
Be mean like your boys out here who get women all the time. Women want a man with edge. Women want a man who keeps them up at night saying, hey, dude, man, what you doing out here? That's the thought process. And of course, that's not the extreme. And that's not everybody. But for the good guy, because I got mentees who are in their 20s and 30s, it's like, it don't pay to be the good guy. Let me be trifling like the other guys and I get my needs met. And it happens over and over. So I guess what I'm trying to come to is something that benefits you. And this is why you make yourself available to be the person on the side.
Because there's something about it that benefits you.
Absolutely.
Isn't there an implication, particularly for women, that if I'm a mistress, I'm going to be kept? He's going to pay the bills. Does the same thing happen for men?
If I'm a man, I'm taking care of that. It's that when she comes over here, I'm making peace for her. She's being peaceful to me. We might eat a meal. We might go to the movies or whatever, or watch TV. And also remember, we are secret. So I don't have to do
that's right. So you don't have to do
right.
it. That's perfect. That's perfect for a guy.
Right. Absolutely. And let me tell you this that really surprised me. You know, I mentor young men, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of my mentees are ex-athletes, right? So a couple of my mentees shared this with me when they were like in their 20s. They was like, I'm dealing with a young lady. She about 47 years old. So I'm like, why is your 25-year-old?
I was going to say, how old are they? Okay.
25 years old, kicking it with a 47-year-old woman. One of my mentees was like, big bro, I'm messing with the principal of this high school. She's 47 years old. All of her kids are in college or grown, and she just wants to have fun with me. She told me we ain't going to the mall. We ain't going to the movies. You going to meet me on 127 in Cicero at that hotel. You going to handle your young business, and you going to take yourself and get a lollipop and go back home. And he understood that assignment. He understood that assignment. And I asked him, though, I said, how does that make you feel about that 47-year-old? He was like, wow, somebody who's my mom's age, somebody who's my auntie is sleeping with me. So part of it is an ego booster, but the other part is, man, this is a sad world we live in. Right? So what I'm saying is, oh, and she was married. She was married.
Of course.
So what happens is, this is the breakdown part, Janice. When we go out and cheat and creep, right? Mm-hmm. We destroy our community.
Yeah, that's
true. Sometimes we think it's victimless. I'm getting my needs met, she getting her needs met, we good. No, think about the day it gets found out and what it does. Look what the world did to my mom, my auntie, and my 2 uncles. Only one of them has a successful relationship. Only one of them out of 4. And I have 5 aunties and uncles who I don't even know. Think about that. Janice, me and you might be cousins. Me and you might be cousins. And this just didn't start with us, Janice. Think about the stories about your uncles and your granddaddy, and maybe even your dad having sad families. So how do we connect? How do we connect? How do we believe?
I want to come back to something Dr. Gazelle said.
Okay.
She said, think about slavery. The white slave owner wives knew what was going on, but this was accepted behavior that later became normalized in our community. Our men and women had to disassociate from their emotions, and this lifestyle became acceptable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Going back.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely true. But doesn't it seem like almost all cultures? I was just reading about Putin and all of his cronies have all these side chicks in different countries, and they got kids and babies, and they treat them like wives, and it's status.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? It's easy to blame slavery, but go back to Africa. Originally, the king had multiple wives and multiple kids. So see, this has been going on since the beginning of time. We did not invent this. And we're also not going to stop it, except individually. I have cheated before, but it was the one time, right? And I did it out of curiosity, because when you say you're not going to do something, like I smoked weed one time in my life. I drank alcohol one time in my life. I was a side dude one time in my life. I tried it out and I learned, not for me. But how many people are going to do that? How many people are going to be disciplined to say it's not for me? Guys, we got husbands sleeping with their wives, sisters, and cousins.
Oh, jeez.
Because why? We've given the world and people in it permission to do this.
But with your sister and with your cousin, that's right.
When we talk about infidelity in relationships, this is the hottest topic going, always. I remember 25 years ago being in Art Sims, Chat Daddy's coffee house talking about relationships. In fact, they had a reunion today for it, talking about relationships, and we're still not getting it. We're still not getting it, and we know the destruction that comes from infidelity. But we're still doing it.
We'll still take the chance for the few minutes.
Absolutely. 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 We can't even trust the church anymore. Because how many times have we heard about the pastor having an affair?
Yeah.
How sad is that? How sad is it? And what I'm telling, at least, and for me, I start with myself. I didn't cheat on my wife. And so in turn, when the subject matter of cheating comes up with my daughter would tell anybody, I'm not going to tolerate cheating because I didn't grow up seeing it.
Right.
But
Right.
how many kids have my daughter's testimony?
A few.
And I hope they do. And I hope they keep the tradition going. But somebody may say, my daughter is beautiful. She's a nerd. Because you got all the other 19-year-olds who mimicking off of Cardi B.
Oh, and that's a good thing?
Of course not. Of course not. But a guy may say, I'll marry Anaya when she's 30.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Right
yeah, I want
right
the hot one. Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that would be frustrating for her. That's true. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we hold each other accountable. So, like I was sharing with you prior to us coming on, I talk to many men, and men feel very comfortable to be vulnerable in front of me. And maybe it's because of my spirit, but I think also because I have therapists written on my forehead, right? And men share and they're very transparent with me. And I have recently told multiple men who came to me talking about the challenges of their marriages. And I told all of them, go back home to your wife.
Wow.
Go back home to your wife. Right now, brother, you going through this midlife crisis. Right now, you're smelling yourself. And you're forgetting that she spent 23 years with you. She spent 27 years with you. She spent 20 years with you. Because now the little 40-something-year-old woman that looked like Halle Berry is sniffing at you. And you feeling that.
So you're saying that men been knocking on your therapist's door and sitting in the chair saying that they're ready to say goodbye to my marriage of 20 plus years because they didn't got some? Like a 16-year-old boy?
Right. Remember, you go to a midlife crisis, you're doing an evaluation of your life, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, we went through a pandemic where I had to sit in the house with my wife for 2 years. And she used to bug me a little. But sitting in the house for 2 years, it went quadruple. And then now I got freedom. I'm back at the gym, right?
Yep.
I'm back hanging out. I'm going to the cigar bar now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm feeling like I'm in my 20s all over again, right? And I'm forgetting, and then my wife, when I married her, her waistline was 27 inches. But now,
here we go.
Thicker. It's a little bit thicker. But that little Halle Berry lookalike, her waistline is 28 inches. I'm smelling myself. And so I'm forgetting the foundation, right? And so, man, I want to do something different. I want to do me right now. And what I told all of them, take your ass back home. Because what happens is I got smoke and mirrors in my house. I made single life look good to a lot of people. But what I tell them is this, let me tell you my truth. When you leave out my house, right, I'm alone. You have somebody at home waiting for you. You don't want this. You don't want this. If I get sick and disabled, I don't know who's going to change my colostrophe bag. You do. And Halle Berry, 43 years old, ain't going to do it.
Come on now.
She ain't going to do it. Because then she can go and get one of my mentees, you know what I'm saying? And can handle the business. Because women now have options. Women are cheating.
Yeah.
They've been cheating. Because they tired. They like, well, man, let me get mine now. So all of this discussion that I'm having is I want us to start critically thinking about things that are going against us. When you cheat, you sabotage yourself and everybody who loves you. Think about when you go to a wedding. You're standing there, you're watching this couple get married, you're crying, you're feeling sentimental, and you're telling the couple, we are going to pray for your marriage. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And then 5 years later, your boy go to Hooters with you, man. I'm cheating on her. I got me a little side piece. And then we're doing, man, high five, dude. Wish it was me. But you stood at his wedding. You was one of the groomsmen. You hugged his wife and like, sis, I got your back. But now you cheering that married man to go and cheat on her. Not me. Not me. Not me. I wish my mother would have grew up with a faithful dad who treated my beautiful, sweet grandmama right. Because then I would have grew up with a father who would have been my mother's husband. So it's a rippling effect. You get temporary fulfillment, but it's temporary.
That's right.
I'm talking about the long haul.
And the implications and who it impacts.
Absolutely. I know it's deep. I know.
You know, and I was just thinking about weddings, and this is something that I'm confessing, because for a while when I was going through kind of a rough time, I would go to weddings so cynical. I'd say, I wonder how long they're gonna last. I know that isn't that terrible? That is terrible. I don't now though, but yeah, but for a while I was really cynical. But Dr. Gazelle said we do need to, not only men, but we need to start holding each other accountable and lifting them up and encouraging them. And you're doing the right thing, being an advocate for marriage. That is wonderful in a practice like yours, where you're seeing all this dysfunction in our communities. Are you seeing more of it? Do you think it's more of it now because of the pandemic, or you do?
The Pandora opened up the Pandora's box fully. The box was cracked. This pandemic opened it up. You ask anybody who's a clinician, they got at least one married couple on their caseload. It's something. This pandemic again, it held the mirrors up. It held the mirrors up, and people didn't like the image. And I think about all the wives who called me, who was like, Mr. Scott, me and my husband need therapy because he cheated on me. And like I told you at the last show, when I'm talking to them, I said, I need you. Is your husband present? No. Well, what I need you to do is give your husband my telephone number and have him call me, because I need to talk to him to see if he's ready, willing, and able to sit in therapy. Because it can't be one-sided. It can't be you doing all the work and he just sitting back.
That's true.
It can't be, I got guilt, I'm going to go ahead and meet with this clown because I don't want to hear her mouth. No, you're not going to waste my time, and you're not going to waste their time.
I got a question out there. It says, so how do we as therapists support a struggling spouse to make the safe and healthy choice for them as an individual?
So how do we as a... So the struggling spouse, this is what I do. I always let my couples know that we're going to also work on the individual you. Because right now you're in a weakening position right now. You're not at your best. And when you're not at your best, you're vulnerable and you're liable and you're defenseless. But the more strength capital that you have and you possess, the better choices you will make for you. So when I was saying that woman who divorced her husband was brave, she didn't do the normal thing. And she told me that people was like, girl, try to work it out. Good. Y'all don't have kids anyway, so now y'all have a baby. You didn't get the baby the way you wanted it, but you got a baby. And she had to fight those people in her ears to make the best choice for her, because she had to go in that house with him every day, not me and not you. So you work on people's individual and you force them, or you convince them that they got to invest in them first. I told you before, when I meet with a couple, I don't play the victim and villain game.
Yeah, you were telling.
I don't do that. I play you two heroes who had a bad situation happen. Because if we go in like this, it's going to stay like this. I don't want the husband riddled with guilt, and I don't want the wife riddled with being her esteem attacked. And I tell them on the first session, this is going to be the hardest work you did because it's your relationship and it's close and it's personal. So, wife, get ready to hear the things you really don't want to hear. Husband, get ready to say the things that you thought you would never have to say. But in the end, if it makes you come home to your wife every day, that's the goal. That's the goal.
When you counsel people, what percentage, and I know you may not have it, what percentage of those sessions end up being successful where they stay together as a married couple?
All of my couples are together because they're in counseling, right? And a lot of people understand with the counseling, this is kind of last ditch effort.
Yeah.
If the counseling doesn't work, we're going to make some decisions. So thankfully, I've only lost one couple to divorce.
Wow.
Everybody else is working it out because they've been committed on fixing what was broken. And that's all you got to be. That's all you got to be. Fix what was broken.
So if one of the if the man or the woman is broken, you work on fixing them individually.
No, I tell them to work on them, but I give them tools and techniques. Because remember, I'm working with them as a couple. But in the therapy, they're getting out all their toxicity. And he's getting out all his toxicity. And I also recommend that they do individual counseling, right?
Right.
Because they need to be in a room with a professional saying the things that they may not feel comfortable to say yet in front of the spouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, the stronger you are individually, then the more stronger you're going to be when you're coupled up. And if one person is weak and one person is strong, it's still the weakest one is going to break it down. You would think that the strong one would lift it up.
Right. That's what I would think. The strength.
No, because weakness pulls you down.
That is true, though.
It pulls you down. It gets you off your square.
Got another question.
Yes.
What is broken if every man cheats? She laying on that. You laying on that, aren't you?
Got you. What's broken is how we've been taught to love.
Oh.
Men have been given permission to cheat. Because again, the men who we love first, our daddies, our granddaddies, our uncles, our cousin, they have role modeled this negative behavior.
So you're saying men don't know better?
Yes, they know better, but what's the gain? I gain more by doing this than I don't.
Oh, the benefit
See,
the
what is the more healthier the spouse who got cheated on is, the more that the person who's cheating will be mindful. So you remember I used the story about my wife.
What she told you
down and said, if you ever cheat on me, me and Anaya are out the door. She
Right.
set the tone with those two sentences. I didn't cheat. But if more women was brave enough to say that to their husband and meant it.
That's a critical thing, meant it. Because they see right through that if you're only bluffing. If they do it, you take them back.
Absolutely.
That emboldens them. Then they're like, oh yeah, I can get away with this.
Men have learned how to read women since kindergarten. You know what I'm saying? We read a room as a little kindergarten. We know the little girl who's gonna share her applesauce with us as compared to the girl who's not gonna share her applesauce with us. So we go to her.
So you're gonna look at a woman and tell what she'll take for the most part.
Absolutely. And then what happens is women tell on it because y'all are emotional. And y'all want to, man, feel. So y'all tell us everything we need to know.
What'd you say? Feel.
Yes. You tell us everything we need to know.
Well, probably because you're prying and asking and trying to find out so you'll know how far you can go. It's manipulation in a way.
Absolutely. But we're going to use it to our advantage.
Absolutely.
Don't ever think we won't use it to our advantage. Because the logical person says, I want to get my needs met. If you give me the bait, I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
Okay, got one more question. Got another question. Here we go again. We're back on this again. So I am confused. Should I accept the cheating? No. I mean, I'm sorry. Khalid,
No.
that's on you. That's on you.
No. What have I said over and over? Work on the individual you. Be strong. Have your convictions. And if cheating will bring you down and break you down, of course you don't accept it.
Because it breaks your self-esteem. So why
Right.
do you
Move on. I'm just telling you that a whole lot of men are doing it.
And that's where I think their confusion is. She's probably thinking, okay, yeah, I have high self-esteem and I love myself, and I'm not going to feel good about myself if I stay in that kind of situation. But if everyone is doing it, what do I have to look forward to going to? Just don't do nothing.
Again, you got to set your bar, and you got to be okay with being a unicorn.
Amen. Would you say that again?
You got to be okay being a unicorn. You
That's
got
what I'm
to
talking
be okay
about.
being different. My daughter is the teenage version of me, and let me tell you what I mean. My daughter has a group of friends, right? And she would have that one, and she would come and tell me, Daddy, such and such says she's going to give up her virginity to Tyreek. And Tyreek is the school HO,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter goes into, girl, don't do that. Don't do that. Anaya, I'm not you. I don't have a daddy at home loving me. I need Tyreek's love. So screw what you thinking about, Anaya. So my daughter, and see what my daughter didn't inherit from me, my daughter knows how to back off of you. See, I'm the one, come on. Stop it. My daughter's like, I'm going to give you my wisdom, and if you, I'll back off, because you'll come back to me. Well, a friend of hers gave up the virginity, and literally the next day, the boy was with another girl.
That's my point. When she was saying, I need his love, really? But she was young. Can you believe this? Our time is up.
No way.
Up. So we have to think about what we're going to do next Relationship Sunday, which will be next month. But I did have an announcement to make. I am producing a play. Speaking of cheating, it's David and Bathsheba. It's going to be at the Madison Street Theater in Oak Park, and it centers on the pastor of a mega church falling in love with a married woman in his church. And it's patterned after this. No, it's actually very, very good. And Khalid, you have to go, because when Cynthia comes here, she said, we got to go to Khalid house. I got to see that mansion. So I'm just telling you. I'm telling you way ahead of time. But I'm probably going to have them on the show, some of the cast of the show, maybe next week. But yeah, this show kind of lines up with the cheating and David and Bathsheba, but at least no one put anyone on the front line and had them killed. So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So Khalid, tell everyone how can they get in touch with you? What if I needed counseling and I need to talk through things? Do you do individual counseling too?
Yes.
Or is it just
individual marriage? Khalid Scott. I'm on all social media platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Right? I got to brand myself. My number is 312-43-SCOTT. 312-43-SCOTT. SCOTT.
312-43-SCOTT.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I'm on www.psychologytoday.com, and my private practice is www.highachiever.net. And right now, I'm booked solid. But give me a call or a consultation. I can lead you in the right direction.
So if you couldn't hear that, and if you could hear the sound of my voice, you're on Facebook. He is on Facebook under his name. You can hit him up. He responds to everything. You're booked up already?
I'm booked up. I have a waiting list of 32 people.
Oh my God. Okay.
I just started in September. Know what
All
I'm
right.
talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Know what I'm talking
I already know that. That's why I'm trying to keep you every month at the end of the month for Relationship Sunday. Yeah. Anyway, so I hope everyone have a blessed week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can share. You can see a rebroadcast, and I so much appreciate Khalid Scott. He just has a wealth of information, and he lays it on the table. And that's what I like, his honesty and his candor. He's helped me in so many ways, giving me nuggets without even knowing it. So I will see you next month, Khalid, and we got to think about a topic for relationship. And all of you out there listening, thank you so much and have a blessed week. Next week we'll be on, hopefully, with the cast of David and Bathsheba. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.